What's going on, guys? It's Doss. Welcome back to another real world vehicle ownership review video. Well, October 17th has passed, and since I sometimes treat this channel as a digital diary like a weirdo, I owe it another super story time. And what better way to start a super story time than to stand next to a car that's shaped like a boomerang? Let's find out why. This is actually my third attempt in shooting this video because I just gotta get it right. And also, we're on social media, YouTube to be exact, so I gotta watch how I phrase things and watch what I say. Now, the first attempt, if you may have noticed, I shared on my story, and then I think also TikTok is when I was in the white shirt. Then the second attempt is when I was in my normal filming area, that parking garage. But I had a unique title for that video. I'm not sure if I'm still going to use it, but it's Forever Heated, which is referring to, well, some of my allies who may have noticed my backpack that is always occupying the rear seats of my vehicles. Although what's inside the backpack remains the same, it's the status of what's inside the backpack is what I was referring to the most. But like I said, this is a super story time, so we gotta go down memory lane just a little bit, but don't worry, since I've been getting better at shortening the durations of my videos, we're getting straight to the point. So my name's Doss. We'll just leave it at that for now for various reasons. I started breathing this filthy Earth's atmosphere's air back in a black and white year called 2000, joining my mom, my dad, and my sister in a house not too far from San Diego, California. Now, about a year and a half later is when my family decided to migrate towards Texas. My understanding is that our grandma, primary caretaker of me and my sister while my mom and dad worked, wanted to move closer to where she's originally from. It was a pretty smooth run as far as living in Texas from 2001, 2-ish, all the way to late 2022. Definitely helps you develop a tough spine living there in Texas because everybody is pissed all the time for no reason. But I was just like most people, graduate high school, still don't 100% know exactly what they want to do. So I turned straight to regular jobs, mostly revolving around dealerships since I liked cars so much. I was a car washer, I was a car detailer, I was a sales porter, I was a service porter. I was even a car salesman at one point. Man, those car salesmen are the biggest legal criminals on the planet. If you want me to make a completely different video and explain how that whole system works, because I know I was only a car salesman for like 10 to 11 months, but I know how that whole system works. They rob the shit out of everybody. But anyway, that's besides the point. I used to give the worst job I ever had title to a job that I had back in school, Domino's. I quit after 6 hours, but that was recently conquered by a recent secondary job I used to have, Amazon warehouse, the worst job I've ever had in the history. It literally felt like prison, except you get to go home every day. So I guess I was just kind of getting tired of the same routine, just feeling like I wasn't really going anywhere with those dead-end dealership jobs, thinking that I'd maybe get by doing something. Eventually, one day a miracle would just walk through the door. All right, thank you earlier this morning, Doss. Seems like you're pretty cold based on the gloves you're wearing, but that is when the date October 17th came about because that's the official date that I decided to pack up my truck and moved some of my things to this new city. A year worth of procrastinating, but we made it happen. Family up here, a friend who's been up here for 6 years. About a year before I moved up here is when so I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and pull the plug, whatever, because I felt like I didn't have any more options anyway. About 8 months prior as well was the longest hopeless romantic. She got homesick and moved back to her hometown. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Plus Texas is really competitive and strict when it comes to the job market. It's almost like you have to have a 4-year degree just to work at McDonald's. So about a week ago, I took a 250-mile road trip adventure in the mountains just to think about how truly annoying and irritating this city and state really is. And in the notes section of my phone, I came up with more than 42 scenario titles. It's not even the actual description, which is how you know I'm not coming up off the top of the head. This is not even like 30%. This is just what I thought would be the most interesting for this video. But as much as it sounds like I'm complaining, I do feel like this is a city of opportunity. I have found what I was looking for, a solid foundation. Then you can turn to stuff that you like to do, like content creation. I just do this for fun. You already know the channel, all those cringy videos from back 4, 5, 6 years ago. This is just me just doing something for fun in my free time. Even though there's always some doing better than you, there's way more doing worse. And I'll never take the position I'm in right now for granted because I know how it feels. I have constant anxiety because you're just not satisfied or happy with where you are or what you're doing in life. I'm realistic. I know as a guy, at least, you need to focus on something that you can actually go back on, put on your resume. Then you can focus on little fun stuff you like to do, like make videos. I've been through the multiple jobs. The way I describe having 2 jobs is like if you ever played Mario Kart and you get the bullet, it propels you a couple of spots in the race or whatever, but it doesn't last long. And then late 2023, early 2024 is when I finally decided to put my foot down and just go for an actual career. Who cares how much more money or how much debt I have to sacrifice and put myself into? I started touring trade schools, and what perfect timing it was to see a flyer for an apprenticeship at my full-time job I was already working at just by being an existing employee in the company. The amount of stress, hair loss, and anxiety I had to go through last year just to put myself in a position where I succeeded and beat like 30 other people out for that spot, definitely worth it. It's been extremely rewarding. Just couldn't be grateful enough. Obviously, if I never made this move to come to this new city and this state, I would never be in this opportunity. Probably still stuck somewhere in the back of those dealerships being a detailer or sales porter. It was basically a 6 months venting process. Studied, even though I could have basically passed this 50-question written test with the knowledge I already knew from being a background mechanic and the stuff I used to do on YouTube. It was a hands-on test, another hands-on test, and then I had to get my CDL permit by myself in under a week, and I had to schedule the closest office that had the most soonest available appointment for me to take the test was 136 miles away, and I ended up failing a couple of the endorsements like 3 times. And you can only take the test once a day, so you can do the math. Quite a bit of miles, and that red truck held me down the entire process, the whole year. All I was driving was that truck, and it never hiccuped on me, which is why I rewarded it this year with a rear axle. Anyway, and then if you made it through all that, then you got an interview, and then about a week and a half later worth of nail biting and anxiety is when you got a call to see if you made it to the apprenticeship program. Then after that, spending about $7 grand on tools, toolboxes, pretty much everything I needed. Every single second of those 5 to 6 months of just anxiety and hair loss and stress was totally worth it. Even though I see social media every day, I try to exclude myself from all the nasty ratchetness, even going out in the real world, just seeing how terrible. I'm blessed to be able to wake up and actually want to go to work every single day. I love what I do. I work in a public transportation bus depot mechanic garage with a whole bunch of unks. Eventually vented me out, and now they all kind of like me, and brother-like energy as well. Even though I'm still getting used like back in the old school days, that's all gonna come to an end because I'm just tired of just ungrateful individuals. Let's talk about that later on in the video. Why are these so trash? Okay, I wish there was some way I can just video record this just to have proof that every single hopeless romantic ends the exact same way. It's just that each one of them has their own personal preference of the amount of time that they prefer to use you, and then eventually they just float away like a balloon in the sky. No more answering phone calls, text messages, yet they can be on their phone 24/7 scrolling through TikTok like in Instagram Reels, but can't even answer a simple text message. Is beyond me. It's just cooperation. It's like asking for life or death these days. You give them all the exact same energy, you prove and demonstrate that you'll provide and take care. But if they can't even do something as simple as communicate and cooperate, I'm not even, bro. I'm just not even. Life is too short, and I really don't have that mental capacity and energy to just continue with dealing with somebody who really doesn't care about you at the end of the day. So now I move on so quick, it's kind of scary. My younger self, I don't know if I'd be proud or just terrified on how quickly I move on. It's just a better me. That's about as short, simple, and as clean I can describe it, but that's how they all end up. Bear with me here, I was just dying of sickness the last few nights, and I work nights, go to work no matter what. I tried my best to keep these topics in order or just be as neat as I possibly can, but we can start off with the fact that they got my birthday wrong on my state driver's license ID when I first moved here. I ain't never seen nothing like that in the history of professionalism, and they had no excuse since they asked me for my Texas ID, which has the correct birthday. Last time I checked, I wasn't born in January, but to this state, this city, they thought I was. Traffic here, it almost makes you feel like you're in a literal cartoon. People driving down the interstate on a rim, sparks flying up everywhere. People on the wrong side of the road driving, it's almost like it's normal. The cell phone usage is crazy. I mean, just take a trip down the street and they're not even hiding it. They're just like this. Stoplights on the on-ramp, I don't understand that at all. What is the point? The infrastructure in this city is already And then they have construction that squeezes a 3-lane road down to a 1-lane for absolute, you drive past the construction and they're not doing anything but just eating. Ridiculously irritating. I don't understand. I think I already said this in one of my previous videos, the only legitimate stretch of a freeway highway, you know, with more than 4 lanes for at least like 10 miles or the majority of the city is right dead center. Everything else basically narrows down to 2 lanes at some point. I guess I'm just somebody that summons road rage out of nowhere. I don't even be looking for it, especially when I'm with somebody. People just always want to test me. I guess I don't look intimidating because I barely have any facial hair or whatever the case is. Super Duty tried to cut up with me in traffic. Same thing with the LaQuisha. Of course, you know, there's construction like at perfect times. Anyway, LaQuisha got mad. She rolled down her window and called me some type of name or whatever because I wouldn't let her get over because we had to squeeze into, it was like a 3-lane road, had to squeeze into 1 lane. So I rolled my back window down so I could talk to her, and I said something that I can't necessarily say on camera because they might get rid of this video. I never back down from any road rage. I'll take smoke any day of the week. I don't care, especially with a car looking like that. We could play all day if you want to. Cringy custom plates in this state. It's literally pretty much the same as the phone usage. Everybody and their grandma, mama has a custom plate, and most of the time you can't even read what it says anyway. Parking is another common problem. I think as I shared in one of my previous F-150 videos, I just don't understand, and this is not just with this city or with this state, but for whatever reason, people choose to park near other people. My vehicles, no matter what I drive, even with a car looking like a boomerang like that, it just attract these giant human-shaped sized pests. We can talk about something I just noticed just now before I started recording. Somebody tried to steal the antenna off the front of my truck. You can see where the screwdriver insertion went under the base of the antenna, and they tried to pry it off. Now there's a nice little gap on top of the fender, and then they took the actual screw part like antenna. This city is really trying me right now. I don't waste all this money on these shells for no reason. The fact that you're that much of a coward to disappear after you vandalize somebody's property, where's the yellow tape at, you know? Since we're talking about the red truck, we can talk about a couple of situations that has happened to me with it that I've experienced. I drove it to the airport to pick somebody up, and I was at the very bottom level, like where the buses pick everybody up and stuff. There's like a parking garage entrance, and then there's a ramp. You can go up higher and you could basically exit the airport. Some 2 weirdos, they pull up in this red '09 Santa Fe and they park in the parking spaces that are on the other side of the concrete divider where I'm sitting. So one of them hops out on the phone, the other one is just kind of walking around just being a weirdo, and they start, of course, you know, because the universe evolves around me, they start slowly migrating towards my truck. I guess it looks like there's nobody in there because I got the windows tinted already. So they start coming up closer to the truck, and one of them eventually gets close enough to where he props his foot up on the back rear tire. I lay on the horn and he drops his phone, it shatters. And I roll down the window and I'm staring at them. They're laughing and everything. They could barely speak English. He picks up his phone and they start kind of waddling back over to their little crappy SUV, and then they drive off. And I'm just staring at them the whole time. Why can't I just be left alone? Who knows what else those idiots would have done if I wasn't even in the truck. The fact that I drive these old ass cars and still can't seem to stay away from human interaction is ridiculous to me, but you'll soon around and find out. Then I got another scenario on here. I wasn't really trying to sell the red truck. I was just trying to get like a quote, like an estimate to see how much I can get for it. And the lowest offer I got was from AutoNation. They said they'd give me like $2 grand for it because it's got $5 grand worth of hail damage. Kind of the same situation when I tried to sell the truck that I moved up here with. I had a brand new 2022 Ram Classic V6 Tradesman, basically a brand new work truck. I was just trying to represent the brand I was selling for at the time when I was selling new cars. The payments for a brand new work truck just didn't really make sense to me, which is why I got rid of it. I tried to sell it up here and they wanted to offer me not even half of what I originally signed MSRP for. So I road tripped it back to Texas and I sold it there for a lot more money than what they were offering me here. Oh, we don't like 2-wheel drive trucks or nothing like that. I was like, okay, whatever, it's fine, don't worry about it. I'll just take it back to where I got it from. Since we're talking about previous situations with my former vehicles, let's talk about my Ford Taurus. I used to have an '05 Ford Taurus and it was clipped in the front by some genius. There are some people in this city, in this state, who swear they have the right of way just because they have their turn signal on. Last time I checked, you still have to make sure you can merge safely before you actually make the lane transition. If there's a car already dead center in the lane, you can't just push them over and expect them to let you over. And then as much as I'd like to talk about the reliability of that car, we're just gonna keep it simple. Long story short, it was stolen by a former coworker who coincidentally stopped working the best job he would have ever had. It's fine. From as much as God has blessed me this year, sometimes you just gotta take losses like that and just conceal yourself and just deal with it. Be patient. Better things are on the way, but that car was stolen by somebody who I thought I could trust. Law enforcement activity, which is pretty ironic since they're never useful when you can actually use them. A lot of this has to do when I used to DoorDash, which is one of the reasons why I don't DoorDash anymore, because they just simply wouldn't leave me alone. But incident number one, these are basically in order. Well, I used to just kind of wait around in these empty parking lots for DoorDash orders or just to take a nap, because you know how it is. If you've ever DoorDashed, you just kind of chilling, you know, you don't want to be bothered. It's like a U-shaped parking lot where you have to enter one way and have to exit the other way. And this is like probably 10 o'clock at night. This police officer, he drives up real fast, like he's looking for somebody, and he parks right in front of me, just blinding the shit out of me. And I'm over here trying to reach to take off my seatbelt. He comes on the intercom and he's like, don't move. You know, like he's about to start shooting or something like that. So I'm like, okay, whatever, fool. So he comes up, he starts questioning me. He makes a threat for some reason. You know, I could really, you know, write you a ticket for something like that for being in my park. And I'm just like, what? He eventually ends up leaving, and that was the first situation. Incident number two, same thing, waiting on DoorDash orders, but I went in this church parking lot. Cop flies up in, really? Like, I know he's gonna try some bullshit. All these police incidents happen on the same side of town, by the way. So I tried to slide out of the parking lot, and next thing you know, I'm trying to make this left. When this light turns green, I look up behind me, there he is right there behind my face. Okay, here we go. I already know what time it is. As soon as this light turns green, he's gonna have some type of stupid excuse. And guess what he pulled me over for? Guess what he said? I didn't use my turn signal, which is crazy because I'm sure I did. Situation number three was sort of kind of recent. This is right after I bought my Lincoln Town Car. The first two situations I was in my Taurus. This situation I was in the Town Car, same thing. I was just there to record a video. It was like grenade video when I was dancing in those little tunnels or whatever. Yeah, these two cops were walking around the parking lot. One of them was already further by the building. They both had flashlights on, and one of them came to come bother me, of course. And he's tapping on the windshield. I'm taking a nap. I wake up to a flashlight right on the top of my forehead. He's tapping on the windshield. I open the door. He's like, hey, you know, somebody got stabbed around here. You know anything about that? I was like, nah. He's like, also, you don't have any plates on the car. Is it stolen? I said, shit, probably. So he's like, you got your ID on you? So I gave him my ID and the title. He radioed it back right in front of me. The dude on the dispatch came back. He's like, all right, he's good, let him go. And then there was actually a few more incidents where I actually tried to get pulled over. I think I was on my way back from the car wash I used to work at. And I just kept like switching lanes, like suspiciously, to see if he would pull me over. He kept doing the same thing though, but he would never pull me over. He finally turned left down the street and just left me alone. And then the most recent situation, which actually happened today, I got pulled over by a state trooper Mustang, but he had all type of excuses. Basically, he just wanted a friend for about 15 minutes. Yo, real talk, why does life get much better whenever somebody walks out of my life? I was on FaceTime last night with this conceited, obese Teletubby. She hung up in my face. Here's another incident. I was in a very crowded In-N-Out Burger parking lot, and I decided to try to back into the spot, like the one spot that was in that entire parking lot that was left open, and this SUV decided to stay behind me, like they were gonna try to pull in that parking spot. So we had a little standoff for about 15 seconds, and then next thing you know, I just went ahead and just gunned it and reversed into that spot, and the SUV went around and found another spot. The spot they found is the point where they had to park and still walk in front of my car, and it was a bunch of white girls, and one of them flicked me off. The fact that I didn't cause a crime scene right then and there just proves how much I've matured in the past. I'm proud of myself for that time right there, because I really could have. I have Honda dirt bike on this list, but this is basically just reminding myself on how rewarding it is to shop around for different customer service and things like that. I used to have a Honda dirt bike before the crankcase broke, because those bikes are made out of plastic. It was a 450cc dirt bike, and those things are garbage. They're made out of plastic. They just don't hold up over time. Anyway, I called this actual motorcycle dirt bike dealership. I wanted them to quote me on some service. Turned out to be $2,300. So I was talking to a coworker, and he recommended me to a shop. They would do the exact same thing for $119, everything, oil changes, check the chain, all that stuff. And it was a better shop. You know, they got some stuff that's kind of messy, an older shop, but you could tell the guys in there know what they're doing. Tongue gestures. This is just a guy who tried to press me about his daughter, thinking I was making tongue gestures at her. First of all, I'll make tongue gestures at whoever I want to, but the fact that he didn't get that day is some type of miracle that I don't understand. Probably the same situation as the In-N-Out Burger incident. But these next few incidents are when I was at work. I used to work at a car wash as a side job. And basically these two is like this one incident. I was closing with a homie. I forgot exactly who it was. I think it was a homie Bronson, but I was closing with him one night at the car wash, and you know, it's just an empty parking lot. We're just standing talking right before we're about to close in the next like 5 minutes. And then the car wash is right next to a 7-Eleven. So from the way we were standing, I guess we offended this gigantic, massive white lady with her out boyfriend, and she started flicking us off. And then as she walked past the car wash, past the driveway, down this dirt pile to these apartments. She just kept saying stuff like, oh, you ain't gonna do nothing but, you know, slurring all kinds of bad language I can't say on the camera right now. It is what it is. There's some just messed up, just disgusting, pathetic people out there. And then another incident at that same car wash, just some guy tried to blame me because his lowered Corvette wouldn't necessarily fit on the rack and he got stuck a little bit. And even though you couldn't really see the damage because it was probably underneath the car, it probably was no damage because there's a plastic guard on the actual railing. But anyway, he just tried to blame me and it kind of pissed me off that day a little bit. So I thought about that as well. Another incident at the car wash that I used to work at. I'm used to having multiple jobs, though my schedule and my work right now with DOT hours, I have to follow them, so I can't necessarily have 2 jobs anymore, but it's been fun. I used to work at Qdoba on the side, DoorDash on the side. The car wash is where I met the car wash homies. Well, I got QT and Buc-ee's. So when I first moved here, late 2022, there was absolutely 0 QTs. QT is the best gas station on the planet if you don't know. Now they're building them all over the place, so y'all can thank me for them bringing QTs. And also Buc-ee's. They built the largest Buc-ee's gas station, which is typically found in Texas, up here where I'm at. The Buc-ee's and the QTs have followed me. If the universe doesn't revolve around me at this point, I don't know what does. I don't know if that's not enough proof. Holy crap, dude. I got Marketplace on here. It's just, you gotta be careful. There's a lot of scams. I had some guy do some work on my car that wasn't even really worth it now that I think about it. I was trying to sell this car and this guy just spawned out of nowhere like an NPC on GTA. You know, they're like, where's your ride at, dude? What are you doing? He's like, oh no, I live down the street. Nah, bro, we're not doing that. You test drive the car with me in here, but that's about it. We're not doing no more of that. I'm not trusting you. I don't know why you just spawned out of nowhere trying to do something, but hey, it ain't gonna work. And it's just, you know, don't overpay for stuff and don't, you know, just make sure that everything works out on Facebook Marketplace. I know I preach Facebook Marketplace a lot because of the cars that I buy and things like that, but you just gotta be careful no matter what you do, you know? Oh man, this next one, dude, if this doesn't prove the universe revolves around me, I don't know what else does. Check it out. So I had an H&R Block appointment that I made a year later. You know how they reschedule you for an appointment a year after you've already been going there a few times? I forgot about the appointment a year prior. You know how they start sending you reminders, blowing up your phone with calls, text messages, and emails once your appointment is coming around, like 2 months or something like that? Dude, I was like, you know what? I think I'll be able to make it, even though I forgot about it already like 8 months ago. I'm like, you know what? I think I'll be able to make this. It's cool. So I left it there, was able to make it to the appointment, right? This is like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So they've been open for hours already, right? I get there and the lady at the front is like, oh, our systems are down. You're gonna have to come back tomorrow. I'm like, how the I gotta come back to an appointment I forgot about a year ago and still gotta come back the next day. Ain't no way, dude. So I started doing my taxes on my own at that point, cause ain't no way, dude. There's no way. All right, these next 2 is when I was at work, my career job now that I have. So I'll try to explain this the best way I can, but I kind of have to word it, you know, a certain way so I don't, you know, really expose anything. Of course, you know, who knows who's watching. But where we were on a road call, sometimes we have to go out and actually work on the public transportation vehicles whenever they call us due to certain malfunctions and things like that. So we were at a certain station to where, once again, kind of the same situation where I was at the car wash and it looked like I was staring at the fat lady way up there at the 7-Eleven. It looked like I was staring at this African-American male from the way I had my head positioned in one of the transportation vehicles. I was waiting on a coworker to finish doing what he was doing on the other side of the island where there was another public transportation vehicle because we were either gonna decide to fix that one or swap it out. But anyway, the point is this African-American male over here smoking a cigarette. This is like 3:30 a.m. in the morning, right? Like barely just waking up pretty much. So he starts saying, what you looking at? At first, I didn't think he was talking to me. So, is he talking to me? And then I look at him for real, and then he stops talking. He just keeps smoking a cigarette. I hopped out, walked a little closer over there. He's still on the other side of the driveway from the island, and I'm just like, you know what? I ain't worried about this fool. If he gonna come up, he gonna come up. And he never did. He just stayed there smoking, just staring at me the whole time. We were there for like another 45 minutes. So that's one situation. Another situation is when we were road testing one of the public transportation vehicles and I came up to this road. The guy was on his bike. I guess it looks like I'm about to block the sidewalk so he can't really cross the street. And he says some colorful language. I have another coworker in the back so I can't really say anything. Vehicle registration here sucks. And indeed it does. See, I come from where we do it right. When you purchase a vehicle, we send you the hard copy plates, the registration stickers, and the paperwork, all that stuff through the mail. Here, even though you already paid for it for some reason at the dealership, you gotta go back to the DMV and actually pay for it again yourself. That's when you get the hard copy plates and your stickers and stuff like that. So something recent, a Chipotle order, something as simple as my Chipotle order, which is not even like 3 things, somehow they still managed to mess that up. So I made my bowl and I'm just kind of waiting in line, and before you know it, I get to the register and he's like, oh, you had the chicken bowl, right? I was like, nah, I had steak. They freezed the whole line for like 15, 20 seconds, right? And they're like, can we have you reverse skip the line so we can make your bowl again? And I was like, whatever. And then so I remade the bowl and had to wait in line for some reason, even though I was the next customer up. They gave it to the customer that was before me. They switched the bowl somehow. More proof that the universe evolves around me. How about another situation that actually happened last weekend, right before my second attempt of making this video? It was an AutoZone incident with somebody's kid assaulting one of the workers. So they had like a big fuss and everything like that, and the worker went out and took a picture of the plate, and you know, the dad and his kids, they ran off, and this is the scene right after that. Ambulance and the paramedics, the fire trucks, the squad cars, everything pull up faster than ever, which kind of made me salty due to the fact that when I just had my hit and run accident in the middle of the interstate, nobody showed up. Noodles and Company. So a pretty decently recent situation, about 2 to 3 months ago, I had some company. She spent the night, stayed over. We woke up around like 11. I asked her what did she want to eat. She said Noodles and Company. Didn't even know what that was. So we went to the one right in the middle of downtown, right? Everything smooth, fine. We ordered and we got our drinks at the drink fountain, and there's some stools across the island from the drink fountain. So we sat there to wait for our food so they could just let us know we're right there by the counter. 6-foot African-American dreadhead walks up and he's like, yo, you got the key. He's talking to me. He's like, yo, you got the key for the bathroom? I was like, what? He's like, you got the key for the bathroom? I was like, nah. He's like, you don't work here? I was like, nah. He's like, oh, you look like you work here. And then as he's turning around, he mumbled something. He dressed like a pedophile. And I said, what? She was sitting down on the stool, put her hand to brace me a little bit. And I'm just kind of like, what did he say? But he's walking away. He's going around the counter to talk to the actual employees, talking about a key for the bathroom. I don't even know if there's even supposed to be actually a key for the bathroom, but you can really go, I don't know why people test me, especially when I'm with somebody. I don't look intimidating. Maybe it's because I don't have any facial hair or whatever. I don't know, but whoo, man. It would have been a nice little crime scene there that day, I'll tell you that. But I was like, you know what? I got too good of a job, too good of a life, too good of a career to even mess it up for your ugly ass. We ain't even gonna start, bro. We ain't even gonna do that. As long as you don't touch me, just keep walking, bro. Just leave me alone. Speaking of dressing, I know it may look like I wear the exact same thing all the time. I have multiple items of the same clothing because I just don't care like that, you know? Now, basically, the story you've been waiting for. What happened to my beautiful, used to be 2004 Buick LeSabre daily driver? It was involved in a random hit and run accident incident that happened right in the middle of the freeway in broad daylight, and yet nobody seen a thing. 300-foot stretch between actually getting on the freeway. You could just keep that solid white line lane and then just take the transition down south, which is what I was going to do. Next thing you know, bam. You know how when that's happening, you're not really kind of functioning right. You're like, what's going on? Why is my car not going straight anymore? You're not really thinking about getting hit. You're just trying to avoid ping-ponging off of other vehicles and trying not to flip over and stuff like that. I was pushed all the way across 5 lanes, 6 including the toll, and stopped just before I hit the wall. I don't know who else in the history of making things up can position their car in the middle of the interstate at this time of day with all these cars passing by, damn near facing traffic on the opposite side of the road, realizing what just happened. So I was able to limp the car back to the far right shoulder and join the other vehicle that was also involved. One witness out of all the 500 people who've probably got that on dash cam, probably even recorded it and posted it on Instagram Reels. He was a really nice guy. He kind of explained what happened. He described the vehicle. Pretty much a lost cause at that point. Once they run away, they pretty much got away. If I knew they were gonna run, I would have kept my vehicle as straight as I could as I was being pushed. That way, I'd have a better opportunity to chase him, because I would have chased them down until the gas tank was empty. But anyway, the first thing I did, I got out the car, I called 911, tried to get some type of emergency services out there so we could file a police report. We ended up waiting there. I ended up waiting. I was already late for work at that point, 3 hours, and still no showed up, which is crazy considering I counted at least like 9 emergency vehicles passing by. I get it. This is a terrible infrastructure city. Nobody knows how to drive here in this city, in this state. So there's like 13 other accidents happening at the moment. But the fact that there was like 9, I counted, emergency vehicles that passed by, even slowly to see what was going on, still never stopped so we can get a police report or whatever. So I was like, you know what? It's cool. I'm just gonna go to work. Out of all the 500 million witnesses that recorded it and all that stuff, nobody seems to have known or even gave a. So it's cool. I'm just gonna go to work because at this point, I'm already not giving a. Another 12-hour shift that day, as pissed as I was. So that morning when I got off, I tried to contact law enforcement once again to get and give more information about what happened that night. This is where I really draw the line on just how it's kind of nice to get a reminder on how cruel life really is, especially in a span of a week like that, or even just a few hours. Nobody really cares at the end of the day, which is a good thing to understand because they ping-ponged me on the phone lines from whose jurisdiction or whose area this is. Like, oh no, this is this city, you gotta call them, here, let me transfer you. This is this city, you gotta call them, let me transfer you. For about 45 minutes. And at that point, the last time I got on the phone with one of the very first dispatcher I talked to actually, I said, you know what? And I just cussed him out and I hung up the phone. I canceled the insurance claim and I just said, you know what? It's cool. I'm keeping this car just like this. Finally, I have a car that matches the city. I'd have to be the dumbest, stupidest moron on the planet to get rid of that car. Even with it looking like that, it's still a more reliable source than anybody who comes in your life. Every time I wake up, I roll over right here, duck my head out the window, still there. All the cars still there, nice and ready, even though that one's shaped like a boomerang, got a nice U shape in the door. It's still there, starts right up every single time, gets me to work just like no other. Can't say the same for most individuals in your life, but it is what it is. And it's still better than your car, so I don't care. This would be the second time I've had some bodywork procedure situation done on that car. I admitted my mistake. I fell asleep behind the wheel, drug it on the rail, fixed it myself with my own hard-earned money. That's cool. But the fact that that couldn't even last 6 months and somebody already smacks it across the interstate, just tosses me right across the interstate, and all those witnesses, everybody just staring, slowing down, looking. There was even people laughing as they drove by, and I'm just sitting there waiting, and then nothing, like nothing. Nobody cares. Cool. I don't either. I just showed you somebody just vandalized my F-150. They tried to tear the antenna off the side of the fender. This ghetto ass city, this ain't no joke, man. It's like people around here just never been. It's crazy. So yes, I'm keeping that car. It's not going anywhere. It's staying just like that. Why fix it? Why? So it can get messed up again from this ratchet ass ghetto city? Nah, we're just gonna keep it just like that. I'm not worried about looks. People already stare regardless, no matter what. I'm not worried about being attractive. They never stay longer than a season anyway, for more than really a couple weeks. So who really cares? That thing is more dependable than they are by any stretch of the imagination. Guys, I think I pretty much covered all the topics, everything I wanted to talk about in this video, hopefully. So I hope you guys enjoyed this new story time. I put a lot of work into a video like this because I'm always coming back like, damn, I should say that too, and I should say this and that. But you know, it's been a while. As awkward as it is for me to be in front of the camera like right now, I think I'm getting better at it. And if you think I'm running out of material as far as just content, that's never the case. I never run out of material. It's just that I need to actually make time. Like I need to go record another video right after this. But you know, and then I gotta edit and all that stuff. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We got plenty of more content on the way, so don't worry. Plenty more. Oh yeah, it's only getting better. It's only getting better. Just relax and just wait. You know, it's just like, yo, whenever somebody walks out of your life, shit just gets that much better, bro. And it's just like when you don't even think it can really get that much better at the moment, it just gets better. It's just like, whoa, you left? Okay. Well, leave the door open, by the way, because there's somebody behind you as well. But then this starts happening too. It's just like, it's so nice, bro. I've been left so many damn times, bro. If I had a fraction of a penny for every time, every hopeless romantic I've had just floats away like a balloon in the sky after she's done using you, I'd be one rich. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Y'all stay tuned. Oh, wait. That's it.